Look, thank you all so much for having me here, but really thank you for everything that you're doing. I think I was at the first one of these, and then I think I'm speaking at the big one coming up in Washington, so you all asked me to do that, and I guess told somebody to let me, so thank you. Really the biggest thing that I've done in this room to make anybody happy tonight is Kellen Sloan, who you all know who works for me, is the finance director for Let America Vote. Her mom is just happy that I'm making her move back to Kansas City. So Laura's here and is through it. So like, that's my, no matter what I do tonight, I've accomplished that. So look, here's where I wanted to start tonight. I wanted to talk about how, let me ask you this. Raise your hand if sometime in 2018 you have had a conversation about how long, like speculating how long Trump is going to be in office. Okay, all right. And keep your hand up if you've had the same conversation, like about the governor. Okay, so it's a similar situation. What I was going to tell you is that for you and your friends, it's important to remember that that conversation, while sometimes interesting, and sometimes R-rated, is not in any way like advancing the cause and also not helping your mental health. Like, I seriously wanted to come here and just talk about your mental health for a second. Because like Stephen was saying, you know, after the election, like all of us, Stephen, myself, everybody in this room, we kind of got back on the horse and said, hey, there's work to be done. I did it through Let America Vote. I've been in 39 states now. For you, I just want to encourage you personally, like make sure that you're doing more, and I'm sure you are, than coming to events like this and listening. Make sure you're also bringing more people out. Make sure you're knocking on doors, making phone calls, bringing people to do that with you. Because it's a really important part of your mental health. Because if the way that you're engaged in politics is to have that conversation over and over again, how long is this going to last? Then every morning when you wake up and you check your phone and he's still president, like it's November 9th of 2016 all over again. So I'm saying don't do that to yourself. One of the things I've learned over the last several years is that, you know, being engaged in politics takes this sort of rare combination of impatience and patience. This ability to say, you know what, I'm going to be patient enough to steel myself to the reality that over the course of years, that's what it's going to take to actually accomplish the goals, the changes that I want to see in the world, and at the same time be able to wake up every single day with this like ferocious impatience that says, I'm going to make it happen by the end of the day today. That's the combination. I think of that as a patriotic impatience, like a desire, an obligation to make change because you're a patriot, because you care about what happens to the country, because you want all of your neighbors and all of your friends to care too. And at the same time, recognize that it may not change today, but that should in no way lessen your resolve, lessen your ability to knock on the next door. I mean, thankfully the weather has finally changed, so that's going to get a little easier soon. But, okay, second question. Raise your hand if you, at some point in your life, have started a sentence with the words, you know what the party ought to do is? Be honest. I've done it. Okay. So, you've got two great party leaders here tonight. John, Stephen, you've got party leaders all over the place, right? John, Stephen, Ethan, Katie, I know. Brandon's sitting up here, okay? All right, party leaders up here, everybody. And here's what I want to tell you, is that if you have something you think the party ought to be doing, just start doing it. Let the party catch up. Because here's the thing that I've learned over the years. The party is just a group of people. It's no different than the group of people in this room. You know, you ask Stephen, he'll tell you that when he started this after the election in 16 and he became party chair, it was what, you and two other people on laptops in like in a house, right? That's what the party was in that moment. And he's done, look, I am extremely proud of this guy, and I hope you are too. The work that he has done and the work that Emily has done as executive director, the work that Katie's doing, Liz, everybody at the party, the work that they are doing to rebuild the party. How many counties have you been in now? You know?
95.
95 counties Stephen has been in as party chair, and so is the staff. They've been all over the place. They are doing the work, I promise. And I wish that there had been, and I'm not trying to knock anybody in the past. I'm not at all. But I wish that at any time when I was doing politics in the state, and I still am, that there had been a party infrastructure like what Stephen and his team are building. Yeah. Between that and what the Women's Leadership Forum is doing. I mean, it is an enormous amount of momentum. And I tell you all this to tell you that if you have an idea, catch yourself before you say, you know, I told, because I've heard this lots, and I've done it, you know, I told so-and-so about it, I don't know if they're going to do it. The way I figured this out, I remember I was sitting in the Secretary of State's office, like not long after I had taken office, and I don't remember what I was talking about, but I was talking to somebody and I started a sentence, we were just talking about politics, I said, you know what the party ought to do is, and then I stopped myself and I realized I was the second highest Democrat in the state. And I realized that if I walked down the street to the party and was like, we're going to do this, pretty good chance it would happen. And then I thought back and I thought about when I was running for state representative and when I was just involved before that, and I realized, man, the party is just a group of people. It's all it is, and you're a part of it now. When people say, you know, the party, they're talking about you and me and all of us. And the thing is that don't let anybody tell you that the Democratic Party doesn't know what it stands for, right? What sometimes when people say that, I think what they mean is, look, some of this stuff is complicated. But I can tell you what the guiding principle of the party is, and I think we feel it here in Kansas City just as much as they do anywhere else. And I think everything we're trying to do is about making it so that every hometown in America is a place where you can find success without having to leave if you don't want to. That's what I think this party's about. Everything we're about is about making it so that our kids don't have to leave, right? And that if they do, it's purely by their own choice. Troop, my son is 4.5 years old. He has no idea that when he goes to college, I'm going with him. He has no idea. All we're all trying to do, no matter what party you're in, no matter what, every American, all we really want is we want to build communities that are the kind of places that our kids are able to afford to live healthy, safe lives near us in the place where we raised them. That's really all we're trying to do. And if you can name the Democratic policy, and I can tell you how it achieves that. And so we have this guiding principle, this idea that the American dream should be in reach. And I think the reason that we're all here, it's not just about winning elections. That's part of it. It's a means to an end. It's really because we all have a sense that a national healing needs to come to this country. And that we have to make it happen. That these folks who are, raise your hand if you know somebody, or maybe it fits you personally, who has gotten involved politically for the first time since Donald Trump took office. First time in their lives. That's what's happening. We're going to force a national healing to happen because it has to happen, because we want to come together again. One of my favorite things that President Obama ever said is something that it's a quote very few people know. On January 20th of 2017, after Trump had taken office and he was leaving Washington, President Obama gave a short speech, mostly to folks who had worked with him in the White House. And one of the things he said was, as you can imagine, it was a forlorn crowd, right? One of the things he said, you know, elections are commas, not periods. And I've thought about that nearly every day since he said that, because we get to choose what we do with the comma. There aren't finish lines when you fight for progress, right? There's a baton that you hand off. That's that patriotic impatience. And so you're here tonight because you have that. You're here tonight because you recognize that it's a matter of mental health, right? That you have, the days when I don't do something to advance the cause, those are the days when I don't feel good about the direction of the country. But the days when I know that I did something, which are most days, and I feel good about it. So as we live in that comma, we have an opportunity to do something important. June 5th, look, I think Lauren Arthur is not just a great candidate, I think she's going to be an awesome state senator. I think she is an outstanding candidate and is going to end up being a leader, a giant leader in the state. And on June 5th, we have an opportunity to make sure that happens. So raise your hand if you are planning to knock on doors, make phone calls for her. I'm just going to wait. Go ahead, everybody. It's a short drive, y'all. Reach to the person next to you, lift their hand. Everybody's got to do it. Because here's the deal. Everybody talks about a blue wave, all right? Everybody talks about a blue wave. Here's the thing. Even if Gary Lezak or Brian Busby were here, they'd tell you it ain't a weather event. A blue wave is not a weather event. There's not a blue front coming in from the west. That's not what happens. It is something that is man-made, that is woman-made. It's something we cause to happen by going and doing the work. I can promise you, I saw it in Virginia of last year, where Let America Vote knocked over 194,000 doors, and we were able to help flip 7 seats. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't just because Democrats were excited. It's because Democrats got excited enough that we went and we knocked on doors, and we dragged folks out to the polls, and we made sure that they brought their cousins and their friends. That is what a blue wave looks like. If you want to call it a weather event, it's like a rain dance. It's something that we make happen. We have to execute on it. So we do that on June 5th. We send a strong message. We put an outstanding person in the state Senate. And then after that, we take that momentum, we keep on marching, and we make sure that Claire McCaskill stays in the United States.